When I mention gardening to you, what do you think of? Your parents, grandparents, farmers? What if I told you that Prince Charles, Kate Middleton, Oprah Winfrey, Roseanne Barr, Julia Roberts, Reese Witherspoon, Michelle Obama, Sting, and Beatles, Ringo Starr all garden? This is a crazy time that we're living in, and starting a victory garden makes sense for a variety of reasons. But first, I'm going to explain to you what a victory garden is. Chelsea Davis explains in Everything You Need to Know About Starting Your COVID-19 Garden that during World War II there was widespread rationing, and that it's estimated that up to 40% of all produce in the U.S. came from backyard gardens. In fact, your grandparents probably started a garden and had a garden for the rest of their lives. Mine did. We're not facing rationing right now, but we are facing other struggles, and gardening puts us in touch with our past, provides us with safe family activities, gives us time for reflection and problem solving, and it also helps alleviate depression and stress. Gardening forms a connection to the past and bridges a bridge to the future, as explained in an exploratory study of mid-aged women in New Zealand by Kidd, Pancha, and Alpes. How many of us remember summer nights snapping beans and shelling peas on the porch? It was almost a rite of passage growing up when I was a kid, a time to spend with my grandparents and share stories. When I worked in my flower beds in the front yard, I remember my grandmother, who lovingly tended her flower beds in Indiana. And I think back to all of those memories with her. And when I work in my vegetable garden, I think about my grandfathers, who always dressed head to toe in long sleeves and long pants. I happen to be highly allergic to tomato leaves, and I break out in a rash that's very similar to poison ivy. It's like my grandfathers knew something. Each spring when we plant our garden, we get our daughter involved, and we're passing on our knowledge that we have learned from our parents and our grandparents, and we even have a memorial rose bush to her grandmother Mimi that we planted when she passed away, and I am happy to say that that rose bush has not succumbed to rose rosette disease. And with all the fresh produce that we harvest, we have had the ability to share tomatoes and peppers with our friends and family and pass on the fruits of our labor, providing the fixings for salsa and salads all summer long. And there are more benefits than just the connection to the past and the harvest of our garden that have some positive effects on your health. Think about everything that's going on in the world right now, and sometimes it's hard to find time to relax and reflect. As explained in an exploratory study of mid-aged women in New Zealand, gardening provides time for reflection, problem solving, and a spiritual relationship with nature, the earth, the universe, and whoever you believe exists beyond that. It provides a sense of creativity and freedom while still giving you a connection to the world as a whole. I don't know about you, but I can feel somewhat disconnected from everything in the current lives that we're living. And it also gets you outside, where you get exercise and some sunlight and some much needed vitamin C, which boosts your immune system. And when you're having a bad day, there are always weeds that you can count on to take your stress out on. And that leads me to the best benefit of all: stress relief and depression. There are many studies that confirm that gardening helps alleviate stress and depression. And gardening promotes neuroendocrine and its effects on restoration of stress. Vanderberg and Custer mention that there are two thoughts to why gardening has a positive effect. The first is the effects of the physical activity, and the second is the being in touch with nature. The studies that they did were compared to reading, and they required a great deal of commitment from the participants. But the gardening itself doesn't require a huge time commitment from the participants. About an hour a week is shown to have positive effects. The study goes on to point out that there are lower instances of stress and anxiety and depression among gardeners, and when they compared them to the stress and anxiety in the induced situations to readers, they actually found that there was somewhat higher benefit of the gardening overall than there was to the reading. Stress is something we all need a break from, especially in the world that we're living in. And if tending plants will help, it's a trade-off that seems reasonable. Gardening provides us with a connection to our past, a bridge to our future, while giving us time for reflection and connection to nature and to relieving stress and depression. But best of all, it doesn't take a huge commitment of time or money. So grab a pot, some seeds, and a shovel, and let's get planting.